We bad boy killers. We killers. We killers. We killers. We killers. We killers.
Welcome back to The Breakdown. I am DELACREMEDELA, your privileged host, and this is another episode of The Breakdown Show. If you are able to hear me and if you are able to see me, do me a quick favor and hit the like button. How about that? That's how you let me know. Before it goes down, let's get into the house rules. If you would, go ahead and slide over and hit the like button. Share this link with your closest friend. We are now on TikTok, or as Jaguar Wright said when she was chasing after a young lady half her age, who she still won't call a woman, kept calling her a little girl. We are now on the TikTok. I went on ahead and set that TikTok account up, but we don't have any content yet. So I'll get to work on that. I'll get to work on putting some content on our TikTok. We are on Instagram. We are on Twitter, also known as X. So definitely check us out everywhere. We are Breakdown by DELACREMEDELA. I believe only on Facebook are we DELACREMEDELA. But you'll see a little picture of my eye, and that's how you'll know who I am. So let's jump into the house rules real quick. First house rule is very, very important. I think it's a priceless house rule. I think it's kept us and brought us a long way. So I'll show it to you. That house rule is as thus. This is not a no judgment zone. Yet Janice Combs is on the chopping block. Kim Porter is on the Cassie is Jane Doe. Everybody's on the chopping block. Everybody. I said last night, if I got to live my life clean and make sure my mental and emotional state is healthy and my body is healthy, why would I tolerate red flags? That doesn't make any sense. So everybody on the chopping block, we see what we say and we say what the fuck we see. House rule number 2, obviously, is this is not for children, especially since you see the diddler behind me lurking, waiting for them to play another freak off tape right before the lunch break so he could take a few extra minutes on break. Such a creep. This ain't for children. We found out last night that Kanye West likes to delve into the honey because he can't have an erection without some honey. We already know enough about P. Diddy's nipples. And as Armand said, put it on me. House rule number 3, just stay on topic. That's all. Please don't throw any wild bullshit in the chat that ain't got nothing to do with what we talking about. If you got some wild bullshit, then please let it be on topic. Let me see if I can find some info on him. Give me 1 second. I'm sure we can appreciate that. So according to NBC News, excuse me, let me see what they say. Okay, so NBC News 1 hour ago updated with an article. Who is Combs' former personal assistant, Brendan Paul? And I'm gonna make it a little bigger instead of putting my glasses on. How about that? And I still gotta put my glasses on. I can't see that shit. Lisa, just so you know, when you turn 41, the muscles in your eyes become very weak, and if you don't wear glasses, you may have to start wearing them. I did not wear glasses until the day after my 41st birthday, and my optometrist was like, duh. And I was like, nobody put that in the manual, in the getting old manual, that your eyes would stop working the day after your 41st birthday. Let me share this with you guys. Who is Combs' former personal assistant, Brendan Paul? Well, according to NBC News, Brendan Paul was arrested. Damn, they start like that? Brendan Paul was arrested back in March 2024 at the Miami Opa-locka Executive Airport on charges of possession of suspected cocaine and suspected marijuana candy, according to a police report. That was March 2024. That was the same month Diddy's homes were raided, but not enough pictures were taken. The Miami pictures weren't taken. His arrest was the same day. Oh, I guess I'm right. His arrest was the same day federal agents conducted search warrants on Combs' Miami and Los Angeles residences. Now, how did he know to be at the airport on that day? Or maybe they knew he would be at the airport that day. Lisa, thank you for that. I appreciate you. You and Danny, thank you guys. Prosecutors later decided to only charge him for possessing cocaine. And that charge was later dropped in December after Paul accepted and completed a 6-month pretrial diversion program, often offered to first-time offenders, NBC Miami reported. He was also named in a civil suit against Combs filed by Rodney Lil Rod Jones, a producer who alleged Combs sexually harassed, drugged, and threatened Jones for over a year, along with his good friend Cuba Gooding Jr., allegedly. In that lawsuit, Jones alleged he and Paul were required to carry drugs and firearms for Combs when Combs traveled. Now, the last picture I saw of him looked a little bit different. So, in addition to Brendan Paul, there's at least one summary witness expected to testify as well. Now, keep in mind, all of the witnesses that have testified so far have been the prosecution's witnesses because it's the prosecution that goes first. And Diddy, as Armand says, Diddy's witnesses will testify after the prosecution's witnesses. That's probably when we'll start to see that star-studded cast of witnesses. Let me see what else we have on Brendan Paul. He was a basketball player at Syracuse. I don't know if that matters. He did get immunity yesterday, like in the middle of the day, before lunchtime, which didn't make sense to me because he got immunity, I want to say, at around 11 or 12 o'clock in the afternoon, New York time. But they still held him all damn day, reviewing shit that didn't matter. They were just stalling, if you ask me. And it looks like BJ's ready, so let's bring her on in. Give me 1 second. Let me get her in. I'm sorry it's so loud. I'm going to turn it down. I'm going to turn it down for you.
Hello everybody, good morning. How are you doing this fine Wednesday, June 18th, 2025. We are here for another day of Diddy, and apparently there's already drama going on. Okay, so look, listen. Brendan Paul, the alleged rug mule, he was supposed to testify on Monday. At the latest Tuesday. Yeah, that was yesterday. No, look like he might testify. He might not testify today either.
Oh, shit.
But let me show you what I mean.
What, they gonna ask some more dumbass questions about Cassie's texts?
The judge says a juror had vertigo.
I have vertigo too.
On the way to court and can't come today. Does that mean the trial is canceled for the day? The judge said, I don't see how we can... The judge said, I don't see how we can proceed today, everybody. I'm just not really seeing how it could happen. And the assistant U.S. attorney said, is this more than a one-day thing?
Vertigo happens for like a moment.
And the judge says, it sounds like a one-time thing. Mr. Agnifilo? Agnifilo said, Could we have a sealed sidebar
Oh,
we can ask some
God.
questions?
Here we go. Another sealed sidebar.
Okay, so they go to a sidebar. It's sealed.
It's a whole separate trial going on at the same time.
Okay. The musings during sealed sidebar, Inner City Press says, what if it were the juror? And I had this thought too. What if this juror they're talking about that had vertigo and almost passed out on the way to court today, what if it happens to be the exact same juror as the one they already wanted to get rid of? Juror 7, supposedly. I don't know. That's actually, I mean, that's the number I've heard. Because remember, juror 6 already bit the dust.
Can't they just put an alternate in?
Gone. Okay. So then we put in alternate 1. But then Diddy's team apparently, I don't know who had issues with it, but it seems like it was something that Diddy wanted because he filed a filing that said, if juror 6 gotta go, then so does juror redacted. So there was some juror he was trying to get rid of, at least according to those arguments. And then the government kind of called his bluff and was like, fine, investigate that juror too. I don't care.
Right. They didn't argue with it.
So now Inner City Press is like, what are the chances? Like, what if it was that one juror who had vertigo? What if it was the one who was the subject of yesterday's threat to seize and search cell phones? With this, okay, so the seize and search cell phones thing is this right here. Oh, I didn't even know I wasn't sharing my thing, y'all. Sorry. This is the TMZ. This is the TMZ article, the texts. But then shout out to Megan Cuniff. She's reporting on the case as well. Sometimes I think she even goes to the court room, but she posted the actual transcript of the judge getting mad. Like, who shared the sealed meeting that we had? Whatever, the judge was mad. He's like, somebody's lying. Well, someone's lying. Remember, the judge said, thank you. Shout out to Megan Cuniff. I did post her link to her Twitter down below in the description box. But in this little thing here, the judge says he kind of threatens to take their phones. He says, the court emphasized in that order that it expects that the parties and any individuals or agencies subject to the order will strictly adhere to the terms of the order, the gag order, to not be running your mouth about sealed stuff in the case. A violation of that order, exactly what happened here. There is no doubt about that.
They should have took their phones and sequestered
civil or criminal contempt charges for all those involved. The court issued that order so this case could be tried on the facts presented in the courtroom, not through the media. That is exactly what the defense asked for. So this is all over, I believe, this article.
They should have treated this like a high-profile case from the beginning.
He's blabbing, so they changed the name of the article back again to blabbing instead of talking. Exclusive. They don't tell you who wrote the article because they don't want anybody getting in trouble. Diddy trial on the verge of another jury shakeup due to one of them getting a strange text message that's left the judge with concerns.
Right.
This juror is talking about the case outside of the court. Sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ the juror alerted the court on Friday. Right? Sources with direct knowledge.
That's Magnifilo. That's Magnifilo.
That this juror came to the court and alerted the court on Friday. Well, how would TMZ know that?
Magnifilo.
It wasn't public.
If that's his name. No, Garagos.
Alerted the judge about a text
Teeny's
message
daddy
from a phone number he didn't recognize, asking him if he was juror 6. Now remember, juror 6 is the one that's gone. He spit the dust. He got dismissed. We are told by an exclusive source, or didn't until TMZ came out and said it. The juror wanted the judge to know about the mystery text, and the judge did indeed have a lot of questions for him about the message and the phone number.
So just to clarify, just in case that went really fast, Juror 7 received a text message on Friday from a number they didn't know, a person they didn't know, that asked, "Are you juror number 6?" Because remember, juror number 6 was dismissed because he had been untruthful about living in New Jersey instead of New York. And the juror was honest enough to tell the court that they got this text message. So now the judge was upset on Friday morning. From what I heard, like, he was Terminator mad and was concerned that juror 7 had been running his mouth. Now, they had a sealed conversation about this on Friday between the two lead attorneys, Agnifilo, who is, I believe, on the prosecution side, and I believe Nicole Westmoreland is the lead defense attorney. And they had a sealed conversation about this inside the judge's chambers, also known as the robing room, which sounds really creepy. And somehow that sealed conversation got to TMZ. Now, to make it make sense, shout out to Make It Make Sense. To make it make sense, Teenie Garagos, who is one of Diddy's defense attorneys, her father, I want to say his name is Mark Garagos or Mike Garagos. He actually is friends, very close friends with Harvey Levin at TMZ, and they have a podcast together where they've been openly talking about this case. So if TMZ got a source from inside the court, who you think it was? Exactly.
That they had nothing to do with this article? I have confirmed that, yes, Your Honor. The court said, well, someone is lying.
Right.
Because the courtroom was sealed. The courtroom was closed and the transcript was sealed. I have inquired of the court staff. Nobody has done it on the court's behalf. And there would be no reason for anyone in the court to do anything.
That's Teenie talking to her daddy.
Ms. Comey is the prosecutor. She's the feds. The judge says, do you have any explanation for what happened that might point to someone outside of this courtroom?
Teenie ran her mouth.
People here. It's
Allegedly.
all on the record because it's only the people who are sitting here at the council table. So the only people that were in that sealed meeting are the people that are sitting at the council table right now. Ms. Comey, you stood up. You identified certain people that should be in the courtroom. So we have that on the record. Ms. Garagos, you got up. You identified certain people on the record. That's on the record. So Ms. Comey, do you have an explanation for this? Comey said, the only explanation, Your Honor, is the one Your Honor set forth, which is someone who was present for the sealed proceeding violated the court's sealing order.
Right.
And disclosed the sealed information.
I vote for Teenie.
The judge says, Mr. Agnifilo, do you have some other explanation? He said, I don't, Your Honor. I have no explanation. I've talked with my team about it. I have no explanation whatsoever.
Telling you, said, damn Teenie, she quiet, huh?
He said, well, I emphasized in the court order that I expect all the parties and any individual or agency subject to the order that they will strictly adhere to the terms of the gag order.
Teenie is quiet.
A violation of that order, and the judge goes, exactly what happened here, there is no doubt about that, may result in civil or criminal contempt charges for all those involved. The court issued that order so this case could be tried on the facts presented in the courtroom and not through the media. That is exactly what the defense, looking at Diddy's team,
because you know where it came from.
The court's commitment to trying this case based on the facts and evidence presented here alone was reaffirmed by all the parties repeatedly, including through jury selection. That commitment is what I asked of each juror in this case before they were selected, and that commitment is what I instructed the jury on. Before this trial commenced. And that is the commitment that the participants in this courtroom responsible for what happened violated.
Mind you, the jury is not in the room right now.
You mad the jury ain't following rules, but somebody in here broke the same rule.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So back to Inner City Press. He's like, what if the juror that had vertigo is the same one that was texting with their...
See, and in my opinion, this case has not been handled like a high stakes, high profile case from the beginning. That juror should have been sequestered at the Ritz-Carlton, and the jury should have had their phones removed. You can't just put people on a gag order who live in the city. They're not supposed to watch nothing. They're not supposed to talk to nobody, but they go home every single day.
While some exhibits have been flagged. D-Rock's.
Thank you for hitting the like button. I appreciate that.
Okay. So, is D-Rock going to testify? What exhibits are we talking about? D-Rock's exhibits? I don't know what we're talking about right now, but the judge is like, there's been some exhibits that have been flagged. There's some exhibits that the government wants to bring in. Oh, okay. I think it's because they're going to show probably some text messages between Brendan Paul and D-Rock.
He's a common denominator, isn't he?
I object, Your Honor. There's no foundation for that. This is one stop. Okay, so there's allegedly some type of...
I've been waiting for that. Ooh.
Probably a text message communication or something between D-Rock and One Stop.
I've been waiting for that.
Which is Diddy's lawyer, is saying they don't even have proof this is One Stop. This could be anybody. They didn't prove this. There's no foundation for...
Well, who the fuck is One Stop then?
He said in the absence of proof that this is One Stop, it's not relevant.
How come they don't know who One Stop is? Well, okay. That's frustrating to me.
I don't know about it's not relevant. It's obviously a drug transaction.
Okay.
Miss Steiner to the feds. With whom is this exhibit supposed to be used? She said no particular witness, even if it's not One Stop. There's so much in the text message about substances, Your Honor. The second chat is about 3 bottles for a price.
Thank you, Lisa. Shout out to all of our new subscribers.
Said, well, if you had someone who could testify that this is One Stop.
Shout out to the day ones too.
But I've just read this, what you're trying to get in here. It is some kind of transaction, but it does not reference substances. They're talking about bottles. We don't know what it's for.
Nigga, what you think they are?
The feds say, okay, but we have another exhibit. We may have another exhibit that we can establish that this is One Stop's number. The judge said, okay, we'll see. Now, he looks over to Diddy's other lawyer, Alexandra Shapiro, the appeals queen. Miss Shapiro, he says, in the defendant's request to charge, the issue is raised about how the RICO predicate should be addressed. Let me refresh your recollection. Okay. So the judge is having to now decide on the parties' requests to charge. This is where he reads the jury instructions out. Now, he doesn't just read whatever he feels like. It's really litigated before it ever comes to light, and the parties have to go back and forth about what things are allowed to be said and what things are not. So the judge is just asking Diddy's side about something that they had argued.
It's 9:30 and the jury has not been brought in yet.
Okay, let's go to Washington Post. "35 minutes ago, attorneys are milling about in the courtroom, but the judge has yet to enter to begin today's proceedings. Diddy is back in a light sweater with a collared shirt, talking across the table to his lead counsel, Mark Agnifilo. To his left, as usual, is Brian Steele. Behind him are Teeny Garagos, Nicole Westmoreland, and Alexandra Shapiro.
So Agnifilo is on the defense. My apologies.
Yet more jury problems could disrupt court today. We are now waiting to find out whether the trial will even proceed on Wednesday, after yet another juror issue has cropped up. One of the jury members couldn't make it to court today because they experienced vertigo symptoms while commuting and had to turn around. The parties are discussing the matter, but court may be adjourned as a result. This follows the dismissal of Juror 6 on Monday after the judge lost faith in his credibility, and a murky issue with another juror that was hashed out behind closed doors yesterday. The parties will first meet in a sidebar before we get a decision on whether the trial takes place today. After a juror experienced vertigo, one of the big concerns here is whether this juror's condition is temporary or if it may be ongoing, which might entail replacing the juror with an alternate.
Okay, just do that.
Counsel Mark Agnifilo asked for a sealed sidebar chat meaning unavailable to the press and the public, because the lawyers are expected to ask questions about the juror's medical condition.
Now, mind you, they have a choir full of alternates who come to court, alternate jurors, let me be specific, who come to court every single day and listen to the trial in the courtroom as though they are the jury, just in case they have to step up. Can't they just use a juror as a substitute juror, one of the alternates? I wonder.
Garagos' empty seat. Garagos, of course, is at the sidebar. The judge said the court would ask further, or would inquire to learn more about the juror's condition. It's unclear at this point whether they will try to replace the juror who experienced vertigo symptoms on their way to court Wednesday morning and had to go home. The parties are proceeding for now by going over some evidence the government wants to present, which the defense is objecting to. So Brendan Paul did arrive to the courthouse this morning, arrives at the courthouse ahead of expected testimony. Brendan Paul, former assistant, so that's him now.
He looked like never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna turn around and desert you. He looks different in every picture. He was like a little chubby last year.
More context about this juror issue. The judge just took the bench and said there's a sick juror unable to attend court today. Their partner called and told the court that the juror had vertigo symptoms and had to go home. The judge said he doesn't see how they can proceed today. Defense attorneys are going to discuss their options at a sidebar now. The lawyers will discuss exhibit issues while we wait to learn more about the sick juror. The judge said the court is going to make some further inquiries as to the juror who called out sick this morning. In the meantime, prosecutors and defense are debating exhibits. And 6 minutes ago, we do get the final call that the trial is not going to be happening today. Trial adjourned after juror calls in sick.
Well, there's that.
Trial is adjourned for the day due to a juror calling in sick.
I'm glad I'm in my pajamas.
Scheduled to return at 8:30 Friday, so they got to come early on Friday morning.
It is currently 10:40 p.m. here in South Korea, and my instinct told me to come tonight in my pajamas and my bonnet, so I did. I'm so glad I did.
I want to read. I know we already got the announcement, but I want to read all the different sources so it's all marked and read and everything, all the different context and stuff. The judge says the trial cannot go on today due to a sick juror. The judge said the trial cannot go on today because one of the 12 regular jurors is sick and had vertigo. The juror in question is suffering from vertigo and needs to stay home today, according to the judge. Lawyers discuss exhibit issues while trial holds for sick juror. As the trial holds to address today's absent juror who is sick, the prosecutors, lawyers for Diddy, and the judge are wasting no time to debate whether certain exhibits can or cannot be shown. Court is done for the day, resuming on Friday. Return 8:30 on Friday for a short day of testimony from 9 a.m. to 1. Court is ending early Friday, so one of the jurors can attend her son's or his son's graduation.
I remember
Tomorrow's
that.
a federal holiday, Juneteenth, National Independence Day.
That's true.
So, wow. Okay, so there was already a scheduled holiday, a federal holiday, which is
Juneteenth.
It's tomorrow. So that was already on the court schedule, but then today they're adjourning the trial. The trial is not going to be going on today. Tomorrow it's not happening. And then only a half a day on
Monday.
Friday. And it's 9 o'clock in the
Damn.
morning until 1. So there were some people saying that it's still because of Juneteenth, like the half day thing, but that it didn't really sit right with me. It didn't really make sense to me.
It didn't make sense
to me because of June. If it was because of Juneteenth, why wouldn't it be like a half a day and it starts after lunch?
Yeah, that's what I thought
too. Be able to actually take that full holiday. It's like not a connected, continuous holiday. So now we're learning it's because a juror is going to her or his son's graduation.
I'm doing some research on vertigo just to make sure. Coming from an old manager background, you always research this shit to find out if it's legit.
2 minutes ago, after a brief discussion about the admissibility of some text messages, involving an alleged substance dealer. Court is now out for the day on account of a sick juror.
Who is One
It's unclear
Stop?
whether this juror will be able to return, and the court will make further inquiries about their condition. Given the Juneteenth holiday tomorrow, it's unlikely the government will rest its case on Friday, as had been expected. They were supposed to be done today with their case. Then it was Friday, which is the day after tomorrow. It's not even tomorrow. Now it's like probably not going to even happen by Friday, because they only have a half day.
Tell that nigga to sniff some
Look at the judge's
ginger.
face. This encompasses the whole thing.
He'd be fine if he sniffed
Judge
some
says he's not sure
ginger.
if court can proceed today. The juror called out sick. He took the bench to say that there was a sick juror unable to attend court today. Their partner called and told the court they had vertigo symptoms and had to go home. The judge said he doesn't see how they could proceed today. Trial adjourned after juror calls in sick. So the only rest of court we have this week is from 9 to 1 on Friday. Let's go to Inner City Press.
Vertigo can last from a few seconds to many days or even months. I get vertigo whenever I'm on a roller coaster or something like that.
Oh, wait.
I can't do it.
So the judge says, okay, we'll see. Miss Shapiro, in your request for the jury instructions, how you want them to be worded, the issue is raised about how the RICO predicate should be addressed, probably arson. Let me refresh your recollection. Anything more before we end? Let me pull up these exhibits the feds say. The judge said, I'm looking at 432. Seems it links the number 7333 with one stop. Diddy's lawyer said, okay, but you still can't say that this is drugs. One Stop could be selling in bottles of water.
Is Ray J One Stop?
The judge said, okay, fine, what? What does FB stand for? The assistant U.S. attorney said it means football, the shape. Cassie said that the perks were yellow. The defendant's chats with One Stop are not hearsay. So they're trying to put in chats between Diddy and One Stop. This applies to D-Rock chats as well. The judge said, yeah, but that doesn't address what Mr. Driscoll is saying. What Mr. Driscoll is saying, that's Diddy's lawyer, is that, yeah, you can say this is text with One Stop, but you can't say FB means drugs. You got to lay a foundation for that. She said, okay, Your Honor, Exhibit A, 432 is a longer chat with references to drugs, including yellow footballs. The judge said, okay, why don't you send that to the court? Then Inner City Press is like, is that going to be docketed? You going to put that on the docket? Probably not. Court adjourned. Crazy. This is crazy. It is 9:46 a.m.
I think Ray J is One Stop.
Inner City Press said the trial is adjourned today because of the vertigo juror. Tomorrow is Juneteenth, and Friday is going to be shorter than normal day. Still, the book on Diddy Trial Week 6 will come out on Friday. Perhaps shorter than the others and even more affordable. Shout out to him. Wow, this was a crazy day, y'all.
It wasn't even a day, it was a moment.
So they're still doing secret sidebar meetings. Okay. Oh wait,
They're
no,
still
that
in
was
the meeting.
yesterday. Girl,
Oh. So court was adjourned for the day.
get out of here. Let's look at the docket and see if anything's been filed. Probably not. They don't think they have to actually file stuff for us to see it publicly. No, nothing new. They haven't filed anything on the docket in 2 days.
They'll update the docket when ain't nobody
Okay,
paying
so that one's
attention.
done. Let's see if Washington Post has anything else new. Wow, this is something else, y'all. All this jury stuff. All this jury stuff this week. Thanks so much to Jules for the $2 super chat. Luke 10:19, behold, I give unto you power. Thanks so much for that $2 super chat. I was wondering if you were, thank you, Adam Freeman, for the $10, going to address the channels who was calling you mafia.
Ooh.
I was subs to N. Rubin and saw the live. She's saying you refused to mention her name. What? And everyone works for Diddy. Are you talking about Natanya Rubin? Calling me the mafia? Certainly there's been some type of mistake.
Excuse me.
I'll talk about her name. What do you mean?
I'm gonna make a prediction. If Ray J isn't One Stop, he knows who One Stop is. But I also think Ray J is One Stop. I'm somewhere between, like, he's closely connected to that.
It's about. Thanks so much, Brittany, for the $4.99. Will there be any consequences to this stuff happening? The judge seems way too lenient. Well, what stuff? Does he know Teeny's dad is doing?
Yes, he does. He chastised them for
He does know,
it.
Brittany. He does know that.
That's why he didn't ask Teeny.
Teeny's dad does a podcast. The government has brought it up.
You notice the judge hasn't asked Teeny.
Has already said, issued an admonishment or a warning, at least a warning, telling, about that podcast, about that Mark Garagos thing. It was during jury selection. But the judge did warn them yesterday about this leaked TMZ article thing. He was like, don't be surprised if there's a criminal investigation, especially if this happens again. Thank you for that $4.99. To fellow hardworking Virgo. Thank you, Tina Bailey, for the $3 super chat. I know, Jesse. It's like, this is going to be the most highly anticipated testimony of all time. Because he was even going to swear in and get the immunity order on Monday. And then the prosecutors were like, don't worry about it. We'll do it tomorrow and Tuesday. He's going to go tomorrow and Tuesday. So he did come in yesterday morning, Tuesday, swear in, and he said, I plead the fifth, or I intend to plead the fifth. And the judge gave him the immunity order. So when the judge gave them immunity order, it's usually, because he thinks, or everyone thinks, that the person's going to come and testify that day on the stand or be called that day to testify. Well, Teeny Garagos spent all day cross-examining this random special agent, and Teeny Garagos spent all day trying to act like this special agent created this chart that the special agent actually only came in there to verify the stuff on it was real. And Teeny's like, your chart. So
Reginald
she spent all day doing that. So then it's finally like, okay, today, finally, Wednesday, we're going to get Brendan Paul on the stand. The government's going to maybe rest their case Friday. They were saying today, but then, got pushed off to Friday because tomorrow we don't have court. Well, y'all, it's like a whole extra week getting buffed in. But
Reginald
however,
Norwood.
That being said, they still appear to be pretty much on time to end the trial on time with a lot of time to spare. So it's not like they're running against the clock in that way. But, I mean, too many more snafus like this, and they might be. Jesse, thank you for the €10. I was really looking forward to Brendan yesterday. One of my days off. Defense, of course, had to drag it out. Exactly. Now I'm watching between work calls. Thank you for that €10. Thanks so much, Andy. Michelle, for the $9.99 super sticker. Thanks so much, Alice, for the $1.99 super chat. Have you looked into the Karen Reed trial at all? No. Because it's like, by the time I found out about it and stuff, it just felt like so much stuff had already happened that I just wasn't going to be able to ever catch up. Thank you for that $1.99. Thank you, Virginia Martinez, for the $1.99 super sticker.
Oh my
Thanks so much,
God.
Chana, for the $5 super chat. Yeah, I don't really want to like get involved.
Let me share something with you guys. So every once in a while, I will have ChatGPT tell me a story about receiving a tarot card reading about something, especially if I can't get up and go get my cards. So I had ChatGPT, and this is all speculation, okay? This is all speculation at this moment. I had ChatGPT throw a tarot card reading about whether or not Ray J is one stop. Because think about it for a moment. Anytime tarot cards are thrown, they're valid, regardless of whether it's virtual or physical, okay? So I had ChatGPT throw me a tarot card reading, and the tarot card reading was like, Ray J knows who One Stop is. They're very closely connected. So then I was like, okay, continue this reading by revealing to me who One Stop is. And the tarot cards revealed the initials RM, and then revealed the name Reginald Norwood and said, now this may or may not be true. This is all speculation for entertainment purposes only. But the tarot card reading said Reginald, the RN stands for Reginald Norwood, which is One Stop, which is Ray J's cousin. So of course I looked up Reginald Norwood in connection with the Norwood family. And the AI overview of who Reginald Norwood is giving me chills, because it could or could not be true. As I said, it's all speculation to protect my neck. But Reginald Norwood is often referred to as Ryan within the Norwood family, and is a cousin to Ray J and Brandy, and is also their family's co-manager. He plays a key role in managing their careers and has been involved in their business dealings for many years. Now, we know that ChatGPT has access to all the resources on the internet, so that web could have been drawn by a story, right? Or Reginald Norwood could be One Stop. Just put a pin in that. We'll come back to it. We'll definitely come back to it.
Like drama with other people, I try to be nice and amenable to people. I try to, I don't have a okay, one juror gets kicked off because he's not, he don't have no candor. There's also some other background issues, like maybe he can't read or something, I don't know. But the issue that really they had was that the juror he couldn't keep his story straight.